The social sciences encompass diverse concerns of society and include a wide range of content drawn from the disciplines of history, geography, political science, economics, and sociology. A teacher has to make use of various kinds of methods, devices, and techniques of teaching social science. A teacher has to make use of a suitable teaching method for making his or her teaching meaningful, purposeful, interesting, and effective. The nature of the child, objectives of the instruction, nature of the subject matter, classroom environment, and expertise of the teacher who adopts the teaching are some of the factors which determine the selection of a teaching method. The methods of teaching should be according to the needs and interest of the learners. There is a wide spectrum of teaching methods available for use in social science education. Now, we are going to discuss some of the effective teaching methods which are helpful for all learners. Dramatization has been described as a synthetic art involving the purposive coordination and control of the delicate organs of speech and muscles of the body, combined with a sense of rhythm, with a view to free and intelligent expression of emotions and ideas. Drama has its great social value. It is a cooperative enterprise and develops the qualities of cooperation and social understanding. There are many activities in a drama, and as such students of diverse aptitudes get chance to choose items for which they are best suited and satisfy their urges, for example, self-expression through the various activities of a drama. There are many ways to use dramatization in the classroom. Teachers can use it to help students gain deeper insights into lessons, build on concepts and themes, or as a means to test student knowledge. Dramatization is one of the most joyful and interesting ways of learning social sciences. It simply means imitation, though it is more than this because it involves practicing, initiation, confirming, playing, singing, dancing, controlling, participating, and so on in the social studies teaching and learning process. An actual environment related to the episodes, events can be created as the students wear costumes and prepare speeches. The students play the drama which requires teamwork, so group learning ensures better learning. It is interesting activity which includes a lot of fun. The students have to act the characters, so the students get better insights into the ancient characters, events and episodes. The students are actively involved as they can feel the emotions of the characters which they play. All senses are actively involved, so learning is better. There is a deviation from the regular teaching, but it is innovative and creates interest among students. It trains the learners in the skills of listening patiently, carefully and courteously. It helps to develop in the learners the sense of respect for the opinion of others. It develops cooperation and desirable special skills. It is time consuming. If not guided properly, it might create disinterest among students. It may require a lot of costumes. It is expensive. It may turn to a mere play, thus the lesson becomes noisy and ineffective. In this method, the teacher narrates the topic and the students try to acquire knowledge through the narration. This narration is made with an eye on the interest, objective and attitudes of the pupils. Teacher makes an all-out effort to present the subject matter in a simple, interesting and intelligible way. Many a times, this technique is adopted to supplement the question-answer technique. As the storytelling method is specifically suitable for junior stage pupils, the narration method is particularly appropriate for the higher class students. It is regarded as one of the useful and effective methods of teaching social science. Teaching should be a two-way process in order to be successful. Students should actively participate in the teaching learning process. The narration method provides adequate scope for students' participation in the problem or topic. Ideas are presented analyzed, exchanged and accompanied with suitable support materials. It provides opportunity for exchange of ideas through questions and answers, arguments and counter-arguments. On the whole, truth is searched and conclusions are drawn through free exchange of opinions. Narration is a group activity and a process of collective decision making. Teaching of social science through this method calls for systematic planning. The entire teaching learning process is carried on mainly through three steps: preparation, conduct of discussion and evaluation. It is an important step in planning. The topic must be carefully selected and the teacher must be confident of the details of the theme. Points to be discussed should be informed to the students earlier. The topic and questions may be written on the blackboard for this purpose. Both the teacher and students should be prepared for taking active part in the discussion. This step is the most significant part of teaching. It includes arrangement of seats, maintenance of discipline, initiation and presentation of the topic, students' participation in a released, free and informal atmosphere. All students should be encouraged to participate in the discussion and express their own points of view without any hesitation and reservation. Such discussion will be a process of loud as well as silent thinking. It is an experience in cooperation, not in competition. This step aims at providing information, facts, figures, removing doubts and difficulties. It also helps in changing attitudes, developing interest and good qualities that are necessary for effective citizenship. All these objectives are evaluated at this stage and measures are taken for making up the deficiencies, if any. The teacher has to play an important role in this teaching learning process. The teacher has to take initiative and all the steps that are found necessary for encouraging students' participation. Success of this method largely depends on the better qualification, wide knowledge, varied skills, ample resourcefulness and favorable attitude of the teacher. The teacher has to direct all the activities of the class and coordinate their opinions and views expressed there on the topic. He or she has to bring out solution to the problems faced and truths out of all controversial arguments and counter-arguments. The teacher must keep these points in mind while using this technique. The narration should be in accordance with mental and physical age of the children. The narration should not be too lengthy. While using this technique, the teacher should supplement it with question answer technique. An effort is made to make proper use of various teaching aids. In the teaching of history, as in the teaching of literature and geography, narration can be used as one of the most effective methods. In the words of Panton, narration is an art in itself which aims at presenting to the pupils through the medium of speech, clear, vivid, interesting, ordered sequence of events in such a way that their minds reconstruct these happenings and they live in imagination through the experience encountered either as spectators or possibly as participators. Narration is a time-honored device for oral communication of knowledge. Narration helps children learn quickly by making the subject matter interesting and easy to grasp. In the teaching of history, narration occupies an important place. On many occasions, teachers find it convenient and profitable to narrate, to tell stories, give account of events, recount some past incident and the like to the pupils. Narration is an art which every teacher of history should try to learn. To be a good narrator, a teacher should know the skillful way of using language and speech. He should be able to use appropriate language which should clearly depict situations and happenings. The success of narration as a technique of teaching depends upon the ability of the narrator his or her use of the appropriate language and the way he or she makes his or her narration interesting and lively. The language and the diction employed by the teacher for narration is of utmost importance. The teacher must be master of the language to make his or her narration interesting and effective. Proper sequence of events must be followed. The facts of history should not be distorted. Through every effort should be made to adapt the narration to the mental level of the students. Proper gestures and dramatization should be used to make the narration vivid and interesting. The use of proper and relevant audiovisual aids should be made to illustrate the narrations. The story should be narrated vividly in a natural tone and in a pleasant manner. Children love action and sense impressions. Narration should be well prepared in advance to serve its purpose well. Narration as a method or technique of teaching is especially suited to the teaching of history. Therefore, this method can be very profitably used by the teacher of history to make his or her teaching interesting and effective. This method of teaching is very suitable for higher classes. It discourages rote memory and encourages understanding and critical thinking. It enables students to discover facts, collect relevant information and clarify doubts. It promotes academic work through joint and cooperative effort. It facilitates pupils' participation and individual initiative. It enables the teacher to identify potentiality of the students and provide favorable scope for its development. It enhances attentiveness, interest, speaking capacity and self-evaluation. This method is not effective for junior class students. It calls for immense earlier planning and preparation, which most of the teachers do not afford. Without proper control and coordination over the discussion, it will be difficult to arrive at conclusion and may lead to wastage of time and energy. Good teaching is good explanation. This quotation reflects the belief that the capacity to explain is critically important in teaching. Explanations are integral to the learning process and can be used as an effective teaching strategy, which combined with opportunities for student activity. Teacher explains the matter in simple and understandable manner. This method is particularly used in the secondary classes and above. This method is widely used to motivate students to clarify, to review and to expand contents. Explanation method is used for imparting authentic, systematic and effective information about some events and trends. It gives the students training in listening, it develops good listening skills, it provides opportunities of correlating events and subjects, it enables the linkage of previous knowledge with a new one. However, this method can be used effectively with other methods of teaching, such as questioning, discussion among others in the classroom situation. The use of clear language, good subject knowledge delivered in simplified chunks, and awareness of what the students already know, the use of memorable examples, ongoing questioning to check understanding, actively engaging all the students. It saves time and energy. Good explanation stimulates even slow learners. It facilitates rapport between the teacher and the taught. It is good for a large class size. It is less expensive to use. It is used to cover a large scope of the syllabus within a short period of time. Storytelling may be broadly defined as an ancient method of conveying ideas, intimations and emotions in a narrative form with or without the accompaniment of music or visual art. Originally an oral tradition, storytelling has evolved from its earliest form to include a variety of multimedia applications. Storytellers may have also collected stories from various people they encountered while telling the stories they had learned or created from observations and life experiences. By nature, children are fond of stories. Children have genuine interest in listening to stories. History was originally presented in stories, and it is felt that students, particularly at the early school stage, should be taught history through a series of stories. Stories can give them immense pleasure, extend their imagination, and develop their creative powers. There are mainly three types of stories: true stories, myths, and legends. Stories based on real facts and figures are included in this category. Such stories are interesting presentation of the actual events and activities of the great personalities. These stories are the sources of history and contribute greatly to the teaching of history. These are purely imaginary stories and have no historical basis. These are usually fairy tales and deal with supernatural elements. Since these stories have no truth, these cannot be used for teaching history. These are in between true stories and myths. These stories have certain elements of truth. The incidents narrated in the myths are not true, nor are the details accurate. Since these stories are generally interesting, these can be used for teaching history in a lively manner. Thus, the stories are the rich sources of history and are interesting. History is taught to the children through the stories with much satisfactory result. However, truth cannot be sacrificed for the sake of teaching history interestingly. Hence, the true stories or the stories having elements of truth can be utilized for teaching history. It is therefore imperative to select suitable stories for the purpose. Tell the students about when you were in their age, about times you failed, succeeded, or about valuable and memorable lessons you learned. This builds a strong connection between you and your classroom, letting them know that you can relate to them and vice versa. Just as we encourage students to use attention getting devices for their essays and speeches, we can use the same technique as educators. Begin class with an interesting story, but one that is relevant to the lecture's focus. When you are hammering through a relatively difficult concept with your class, one easy way to explain it is to illustrate the concept with a story. When facts and figures won't do, simple narratives sometimes can. We want our students to develop listening skills, and we can incorporate storytelling into the larger picture of achieving these outcomes. Some students experience difficulty connecting to understand textbooks or abstract concepts. However, the same learners typically have little struggle connecting to stories. Through telling stories, you make life and learning more relevant, giving reluctant learners a better angle of engagement. Storytelling method creates immense interest in the classroom. It develops the power of imagination. It promotes the growth of pupils' creative talents through story writing, designing, drawing pictures, making models. It inculcates virtues in the young students. It helps in understanding and remembering historical facts easily. It usually encourages exaggerations of facts which create misconception and wrong ideas in the pupils. It sometimes minimizes the importance of personalities and shows even the historical characters as mythical and frivolous. The storytelling method is not found suitable for teaching history to the students of higher classes. In its simplest form, storytelling remains a powerful element of communication. They humanize learning. It offers us the opportunity to connect to like-minded characters or see the world literally from within someone else's skin. Stories touch our emotions and make us laugh, cry, fear, and get angry, a sharp contrast to a plain old presentation. Role play can be defined as an attempt to make a situation clear or to solve a problem. It is a spontaneous dramatization of the contextual life or total personality of the persons or posts whose roles are being played. Therefore, it involves initiating, acting, managing, and emotional display. It is the dramatization of an event or a situation or a process. It is dealing with the problem through actions. A role is a pattern, sequence of feeling, words, and actions. It is used to resolve conflicts and solve problems. It is used to teach feelings of emotion which might be difficult for the teacher to express or demonstrate. It gives students the opportunity to express their thoughts and feelings freely. It helps to develop in the learner's cooperative attitude, the desirable social behavior, as well as the consequences of doing otherwise. However, it should be followed immediately by an analytical discussion of the roles played, issues raised, and resolved. Finally, role playing needs some preparation on the part of the teacher and the learners because poor preparations may ridicule the whole situation as a result of poor quality of output. It develops deep understanding. It develops problem solving skill and attitudes. It explores subject matter in varied ways. It develops interpersonal communication. Pupils who are not well prepared for role playing may not take it seriously. Role playing will not work unless the atmosphere in the classroom is supportive. Pupils find it difficult to enter the roles properly, especially if they are not well briefed on the assignments. Role playing does not always take the direction as we expect. Role playing is a time consuming activity. For role playing to work well, one needs a group of sensitive, imaginative, and open minded pupils who know each other well enough to be at ease with each other. There are varieties of teaching methods that can be used in teaching of social studies. However, it is advisable for teachers of social studies to employ more than one teaching method in a particular lesson so that the lesson will be more effective and interesting to the learners. A good method of teaching can bring out good results even from a weak curriculum. On the other hand, a bad method of teaching can make a mess of a good curriculum. Therefore, it can rightly be said that success or failure of teaching depends on its methods.